Hello everyone, welcome back. Good to see you. Haven't done one of these in my Jeep for a while, huh? That's a bit of a throwback, isn't it? Yeah, some vintage return to reason here. No, I just wanted to make a quick video. I had some thoughts as I was driving home about the Biden enthusiasm stuff, and so I wanted to give you just three thoughts that I had. That some of it's I've been kicking around, and another one is a thought I just had. So I'm like, I might as well get it out there for you to engage with. So there's been a lot of talk about, there's the gap in enthusiasm between Biden supporters and Trump supporters is enormous. Not very many people enthusiastic about Biden. A lot of Trump supporters are enthusiastic about him. Therefore, Trump's going to win in a landslide or something. I've been hearing this a lot from people on the right. There's going to be a landslide, so on and so forth. I think that's very silly. Maybe true, but I don't think so. And I'm going to give you three reasons why I think we're probably thinking about the Biden enthusiasm gap incorrectly. And, you can give me your thoughts on this, if you agree, disagree, somewhere in between. But the first one is I've heard a lot of people say that, I never see any Joe Biden signs, or I see very few Joe Biden signs. There was a question that was asked during his town hall the other night where one of his supporters said, I see all these Trump signs and I only see one or two of your signs. What do we do about this lack of enthusiasm? And I've seen that on the other side as well. People on the right saying, man, there's no Joe Biden signs, just a lot of Trump signs. Therefore, Trump has more supporters. So I live in a red state, and the town I live in is fairly red, but I live in the Democrat part of town. And that Biden sign metric does hold true. There is only one Joe Biden. It's a flag. It's a Biden-Harris flag on a house a few blocks away, and that's the only one in the area. Okay, so if I were to use the lens of Biden signs equal Biden voters, I might very well believe that there is only one Biden voter or very few Biden voters in my area. Now, if I were to expand that out and look and say, well, how many signs are there supporting Democrats in state and local elections? Well, there's actually a lot. If I were to include all signs supporting Democrats in state and local elections that are coming up as well, then it would probably be 50 to 60, maybe 70 signs of people supporting the Democrat team generally. And if I were to add signs like Black Lives Matter or those ones, in this house we believe, and here's all the reasons I'm virtuous kind of thing, then I'm probably in the 90 to 100 range of signs. So the question is, do you think the people who are supporting Democrats in state and local elections also won't vote for Joe Biden in those same elections? Well, of course they will. Of course they will. Those are happening on the same day. Especially, the House and the Senate is another big one that people are really, really, really worried about on both sides of the aisle. So I wouldn't just use the Joe Biden sign metric. I would use the sign that indicates you're voting blue metric as that kind of way of looking at the enthusiasm. Because it's not just Joe Biden versus Donald Trump. Those aren't the only ones on the ballot. There's a lot of other things on the ballot. And we know that, I think there was the poll maybe a month or so ago that showed how many, the different, I went over it in a video, I think the one on Harris perhaps, about why people are voting the way they are. And I think the one supporting Joe Biden, it might have been 17% or something, that was voting just because they're voting to support the Democrats, right? And if you added that with the people that were voting for Biden because he wasn't Trump, it was almost 2/3, I think. Anyway, my point is that signs are a bad metric. Don't just look for Biden. Look for signs that indicate you're voting blue, right? Or voting red, And so use that. Don't just use the Biden ones. So I think those are going to be misleading. That's all you use. All right, the second thing is the lack of enthusiasm for Joe Biden has been baked in from the very beginning. And so I think that people who now are looking at it and going, man, no one supports Joe Biden. No one's excited about Joe Biden. Well, that's been the case this whole time. That's been the case this entire time, that people have not been excited for Joe Biden. So to look at this and go, these guys are so stupid. Look at them nominating this guy that they're not even excited about. I think that's a wrong way to look at it. So let's use another metaphor, right? So let's say you see an incredibly attractive woman, knockout, total bombshell, and she's with a guy, clearly with him, in a relationship, and he looks like Danny DeVito. Do you look at that and go, gosh, she's so stupid. I can't believe she's attracted to this guy who looks like a total troglodyte? Or do you start to think, why is she with him, right? You go, he must have a great personality. He must be really funny. Maybe he's rich. So you don't just look at it and through the lens of, I can't understand this on its face, therefore it's stupid. You start to think of what are the reasons why she might be with him. So I think that's a thing you could do with Joe Biden, is to go, don't just look at it and go, no one's excited. I can't believe they're so stupid. No one was excited for Hillary Clinton. She was not a very likable candidate. And yeah, she lost, but she won the popular vote, and Trump only won that election by maybe a margin of, I think it was 50 to 70,000 votes in total. So to look at that and use Hillary Clinton, well, she wasn't likable either. She won the popular vote, okay? So think about the reasons why they would be selecting this person, and think there's probably something that they know that I don't know that is causing them to support this person. And that leads me to the third point, which is, I've talked about prospect theory before. It's this theory that is coined by Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky. They ended up winning a Nobel Prize for it. These are the guys that also really dug into like risk or loss aversion, risk aversion in terms of people making decisions economically. And the basis of it is people don't make decisions based on the absolute value in a gain or loss in a transaction. They make those decisions in relative terms. So they think about that loss compared to what they might gain, or they think about that loss compared to what they have, or they think about that gain, compared to other gains. And so it's all relative. And so the lack of enthusiasm has been baked in for Joe Biden for a long time. And so why do they pick him? Well, think about the relative decision-making framework that they're using. They're not just looking at Joe Biden in a vacuum. They're looking at what he's compared to. They're looking at Donald Trump. And so I think that it would be a mistake to look at the enthusiasm for Joe Biden alone as a metric. Now, what I'm not saying is lack of enthusiasm doesn't matter. It does matter. I just don't think it matters very much, especially if you think about it in relative terms of what a potential Joe Biden voter might be thinking about their other option, i.e. Donald Trump. So think about scenes in movies where someone maybe has been out on the open road, or they've, they just got rescued or something, or they're traveling and they haven't had anything to eat, and someone takes them in and they're like, sorry, it's all we got. Wish we had more. And the people are always like, no, this is the best meal I ever had. This is great. Why? Well, because it's relative to what they have been eating up until that point in time, right? So I think about times that I've been out like in long camping and hiking trips, that first meal, whenever I get back, even if it's not like objectively the best meal, because I've been eating something bland, or I haven't had hot food or cold or whatever for a long time, that meal tastes so much better than it would have under other circumstances. So if you're a low information diet voter and you're potentially leaning towards voting for Joe Biden, you don't have to be enthusiastic for him. You just have to look at that in a relative sense of what the other option is. And you're thinking, I've had 4 years where I've been told that the other option is a racist, sexist, rapist, bigot, homophobe, anti-Semite, trying to kill Americans, who's creating concentration camps, all this other stuff. And so if that's your framework, then how high does the bar have to be for you to support the other person? Well, it doesn't have to be very high at all. You just have to go, well, I don't want that Hitler character, as I have been informed, in there. So it doesn't really matter who they nominate. They could nominate a baked potato and a piece of broccoli, which I guess they kind of did. Well, no, baked potatoes and broccoli are healthy, so they nominated pork rinds. But it doesn't matter because they're looking at it as, do I want pork rinds or do I want poison? So it's all being made in relative terms. So you can't just look at the lack of enthusiasm for Joe Biden as a person. That's been baked in. I mean, The Daily Show did this video, Biden, Acceptable Under the Circumstances, right? Narrated by Steve Buscemi. It was really funny. And there's like all these Settle for Biden different pages like on Facebook and Twitter and stuff. And so this has been baked in, and I think it's obvious that they're unified around the aversion to Donald Trump and the rejection of him, not the embrace of Joe Biden. But it's all relative because it has, in a sense, the same effect. Whether I am pulled in a direction because I'm drawn there by something innately appealing, or I'm pushed in that direction by something I find to be repulsive, I'm still going in that direction. So all that to say, there are lots of different ways you can think about the Biden enthusiasm thing, but I think it'd be a mistake to just take it at face value based on signs, based on the fact that, he's not someone that is very exciting as a candidate. But people can convince themselves. I mean, that happened after Trump was elected, right? There were all these people that were against Trump, and then, sorry, not elected, but nominated even. There were all these people that were against him. And then I even remember Jon Stewart did this really scathing thing about the about face the GOP did after Trump got the nomination. And, there are things in that I agreed with, things I disagreed with. But the point is that people will rally around their side, but really the motivation is, I just don't want them in power. So you have to add the polarization and the disinformation in a lot of ways. And just, Donald Trump as a character, all of his defects, good, bad, and in between, that would drive someone to vote the other way, where in a sense, again, it doesn't really matter as much because it's all relative in terms of the framework they're using. So those are just some thoughts I had off the top of my head. You can give me your feedback on that if you think I'm crazy, you think that's stupid, think that's oversimplified, whatever. I'm open to all of it. If this is the kind of thing you're into, please like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. That's at My Mundane Mind. On YouTube at Return to Reason. My channel got a big boost after that conversation with Dr. Carlin Bursinko the other day. If you haven't seen that, you should check it out. It was really awesome. And then over on my locals page, again, that community's growing. It's cool. People are sharing stuff. There's some really awesome and interesting conversations taking place over there. That's at returntoreason.locals.com. I'd love to have you over. It's free. It's totally free. Just come and join in the conversation. It's great. You can post your own content and everything. You can troll me all you want. That's cool. You can do that too. I shouldn't have said that because I'd rather you not. But, it is what it is. That's the internet. And that's it. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Peace.